Chairman himself.
Hey, Mr. Rudy. You hear me okay?
Yes, 100%.
Awesome.
Long time, bro.
It's been a long time.
Damn.
It was Corona and everything.
The last time we saw each other was in 2019, Abi?
Yeah.
The event that I came to in Maryland there.
Yeah, during the I think it was during the GHS reunion, right?
No, we had there was a boomerang event that we attended at one time after that.
Yeah,
we had that GHS this in 2018. So how's things been going on so far?
So far so good. I just recently had a son.
Oh wow, congrats. Is that the first?
Yeah, that's my first.
Awesome. How's it feeling?
Pretty exciting. I mean, words can explain.
I can imagine.
I think you're also a father, so
I am.
Yeah. So my friends who have kids, they used to tell me they can't really tell me that feeling,
Yes.
Or maybe they would just be into pumpers and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I saw my son come out, like the feeling was just overwhelming. Yes, couldn't even come out. I couldn't even scream.
Yeah.
But it's been a wonderful experience.
I can imagine. I didn't have the opportunity to. I didn't have the privilege of being there when my daughter was born. So there are some experiences I'm still looking forward to.
Trust me, if you don't strengthen your heart,
yes,
I don't advise you to go there. Like the experience for me, it was a joyful one, but for a lot of people, it's I don't know. It traumatizes them. It's not something you get to see every day.
Right.
But especially if your wife or girlfriend goes through C-section, yes. That is a whole different ball game. I think mine was a little bit fortunate because my wife pushed naturally, okay. Natural birth.
Okay.
But just seeing her go through the whole
process,
labor, and man, it was a little bit traumatizing. But she's a strong woman. That's one thing. Like ever since she had our son, it's been different.
And I can say that experience brings a new sense of love.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because you see how she went through that. You really you have a new sense of appreciation.
Yes.
Right.
Another guy told me that when you experience it, it gives you new eyeglass.
Yeah. a new sense of eyes to see.
Yeah. Your whole perspective changes, and and I thought it was a joke, but it's actually really true.
Okay.
It's just, I think it's a good experience. Everyone should at least try to experience it.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to push people to rush themselves.
Oh, you have to be ready. I tell everyone, don't stress yourself so much.
Right.
Just let God do the work. You know.
Yeah.
Because we've been married for 8 years, struggled to have kids for 7 until now. So, and then our community, all the pressures, all the talks, all the you guys cannot have kids, blah blah blah. But all the same, one thing is to just trust God and let God handle the rest.
That's a testimony, bro. That's really a testimony.
It is, absolutely. It is
a testimony. All right, awesome. So while we're having all this conversation, I want us to jump right on the show, right? And I have a can just introduce yourself first, right? Into the show.
Okay, absolutely. So my name is Ndezka Ah, and I currently work as an agile coach and a scrum master. And I've been doing it for I think about 6 to 7 years now as a scrum master, and then as an agile coach for over 3 years. And so far, I think it's been a very rewarding career path that I choose. And prior to that, I used to work as a Oracle database administrator. So on one side, I have a couple of businesses. One of it is teaching. I teach some IT courses. I teach Scrum. I used to teach Oracle database. And then I have a financial service business where I educate people on, how to better manage your finances, how to properly plan for retirement, proper savings, good financial habits. So that's one business I do on the side. And also I help a lot of people in the community around, putting together resumes, job application processes, interview process, and just so I can get people to, understand the American market, understand, the nature of job seeking in America,
Right.
which is so different from what we are used to back home.
Correct.
Yeah. Then what else? I think in a nutshell, those are like the top things. I do other small things on the side, which are not really concrete things that I want to really talk about for now, since there's so much utilizing.
Right.
Yeah.
So awesome. So I just want to give a brief background of what I know about you. So Philip's a great guy. He's an African immigrant from Cameroon, and he's a business and entrepreneur, professional, and I'm really excited to have you on the show today, bro.
Yeah, it's been amazing, man. I've just been, anticipating the whole thing, like how it will look like ever since you told me about it. But I'm pretty excited to be here.
Right.
I think it's a great initiative, bringing this to a community. We don't get to experience this too often. We just get to see usually Americans and other people from different nationalities, but not really Africans.
Absolutely. Recently, and I'm just going to say this, I didn't want to brag about this right now, but right now you brought this, I'm going to brag about this. Right? So yesterday, I think about 2 days ago, some guy sent me an email and said that my podcast has been ranked as number 2 top African podcast, top African immigrant podcast to subscribe and listen to and follow. Wow. And I was like, these are little things that we do. We don't know how many people are watching you from the outside.
Absolutely.
And when I looked on the website, there were 5 top, and I'm number 2. I said number 2. I just started this show like a month ago. I'm like, Jesus. I can only imagine what's gonna be in the next couple of months. And not just the rank of being on the show, but actually the influence and the contribution to the community. Having influential people like yourself on the show, bringing your knowledge, your skills, and your experience is definitely going to be valuable to our community and people who are just immigrating to the country, and even those who have been here. But I see having these loopholes and overwhelming confusion about the different processes and things that are involved in the country here in America. And I think that as we grow within the show, I'm really excited for the things that people are going to learn about what the show is about and how they can better their lives.
Yeah, man, I applaud your effort for, not just having the vision, but actually, putting it into action, because a lot of times you have all kinds of ideas on how you can better move our community forward. But then, bringing it to fruition, it's difficult. So just taking the bold step to start is something which I usually applaud in a lot of people. Because when you don't start, you don't know.
Right.
You can have all the plans in your head, but if you don't start it, nothing gets done. That's what I tell myself every time. But I really applaud your effort. I didn't even know you were number 2. Let's get into number 1.
I know, man. This just came in yesterday. I was so excited about it. I was on my way. I think I was on my way to work yesterday, and I saw that. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. And I also just got approved on Apple Podcast.
Wow.
The Apple Podcast just approved my show yesterday and brought it live. So right now, if you search it on Apple Podcast, you find my show up there. I'm still waiting for Google to do the honor.
Wow, man, that's something to brag about,
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna look onto our African proverb for today. And our African proverb for today is: if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I think this kind of ties right into what you're doing, my brother. So tell me what you think about this.
Yeah, I think that's one of a proverb which I have as a mantra, especially with me teaching students. because sometimes when you finish teaching students, they want to leverage you back to help them with, sometimes interviews and stuff. But I
Right.
usually tell them, if I do this for you, I'm not helping you, because you continue to be reliant on me, then you're creating a single point of failure. So if I'm not there, what would you do? The goal of my teaching is to enable you to be able to fend for yourself,
Correct.
to have the skill set, to have the ability, and to have the confidence to go about, developing yourself and achieving something for yourself. So that is something I've leveraged even with my relationships. Like even my wife, when she comes to me, oh, how am I supposed to do this? I usually ask her, what do you think? Because I'm ensuring that I make her to start thinking for herself, to become self-sufficient.
Right.
I think our community, we have been so reliant on other people, whether it's uncles, aunties, dads, brothers and sisters, rather than, developing ourselves to a level where we can rely on ourselves.
Right.
So we don't have that single point of failure, which is
Right.
relying on other people.
Right.
And my dad always used to say, even your shadow will leave you. So you have to develop yourself strong enough that when your shadow leaves, you can still achieve what you were supposed to achieve for yourself. I
Right.
think the proverb really ties into what I do.
Right.
The education part, building people up, making sure that they're self-confident, self-sufficient, and they can go about, diving into the proverb. They can go about fishing for themselves.
Right. Absolutely, man. It's just how God just make things work. This is I didn't pre-plan this proverb, but I know I have a list of proverbs that I just go through every day. And I just this one just like caught my eye. I'm like, this is like basically what you do on a daily basis,
Yeah.
teaching people how to fish and teaching people how to become professionals for themselves, just to understand the American system and the economy, but also how they can actually develop themselves and become valuable asset to the community.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So I have a few questions for you, and I really want to get into it because I know that. So one of the first questions I have is, what's something that people seem to misunderstand about you? You've been in this country for like how many years now?
I've been here over 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think one of the biggest things people misunderstand is they feel like I'm too strict. Yeah, they feel like I'm too strict, but that is usually not the case. When it's about business, I get very serious,
Right.
But regular life, I'm a clown. Like the people that are close to me, they know that I'm the biggest clown you can find. But when it's time for us to get serious about, whether it's about work, whether it's about business, I really take it seriously. So, but a lot of people, when they usually come to me, they usually come for me to give them a ready-made solution, which is something I don't usually do.
Right.
I'll get to question you to see how can you rely on yourself,
right,
rather than me just throwing, a solution to you. First of
right,
all, what is the problem? How can we work together to ensure that you formulate a solution to that problem? And I think that also ties to my background in coaching,
right,
where, as a coach, you don't just provide solutions. You
right,
get to coach people to formulate solutions, right? So they
right.
can navigate through their own path. So that's one, I think it's the biggest area where people have a misconception about me and misunderstanding.
Right, absolutely, because thinking about our, like, just like you mentioned, our community is so reliant on having people do things for you,
Yes.
right? And if we find ourselves in an environment or encounter somebody like yourself who is not just business minded straight, but people who are very conscious of their time, because one of the things that I've noticed within our community, people want the result, but they don't want to put in the work.
Absolutely.
Right. They don't want to put in the work. And as soon as you show up and say, you know what, go and do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to get A, B, and C results, they feel like, oh, do I have to do X, Y, and Z in order to get this result? Like, what's the shortcut, right? Yeah. What's the shortcut? We're always looking for the shortcut. Awesome. So next question I have for you is, as an African immigrant, what's the best compliment you have received from Americans? Or not just say Americans, but within, for your life, for your time being here for the last 8 years, what are some of the compliments that you've received as an African immigrant?
Yeah, I think this one of the biggest compliment has been from my both teaching and financial service business that I do. First with the financial service, there is the my sister-in-law. So her mother-in-law was really sick, right? You know, she was diagnosed with cancer.
Mm.
So I was trying to get an insurance policy for her.
Okay.
And prior to that, I'd been talking to them about the importance of, a life insurance policy, right? Just securing the family, making sure that if something happened, they're properly ready to still carry on with life. Because if you fall today, life continues, right? The people who are left behind, at least they have to have a better life
Absolutely.
or even the same. So I was talking to them over and over, but they kept pushing it on the side. And then finally, this her mother-in-law got cancer,
Mm.
and I tried so hard. That's one of the hardest policy I've worked in. I went through all kinds of different insurance companies to be able to insure her. So I worked so hard to actually get something. And finally, when I got it, the grandma, we call her grandma, she doesn't speak good English, but she told me, my son, the thing you have done for me and for this family, I don't know how we'll be able to ever repay you, because I know if I die today, they'll be in a better place.
Right.
That because of you, we understand what the light is. And it really uplifted my spirit. And also another situation was another Ghanaian lady. She was diabetic. She's a nurse. She didn't even know that she was diabetic. She had high blood pressure because she worked so much. So fortunately, due to us being there to write an insurance policy for her, we were supposed to do a blood work and all that. And
Right.
she discovered that she had terrible high blood pressure that was, not under control. And
Right.
then her diabetic level was off the roof.
Wow.
So they called her immediately after they got the result and said, please rush and go to the hospital. And if not of us being there, she would have died. So she called me
Wow.
3 days after and told me, hey, Philip, you didn't just try to insure my family, but you actually saved my life.
Wow.
And another situation has been one of my students, you know, she was working as a car salesperson for one of these big dealerships, but she was making barely $7, $8 an hour. She could barely pay for class. And in the middle of the class, she told me, hey, I'll have to drop off because I cannot pay your fees.
Right.
So I told her, hey, you're already in it. Why do you want to drop off now? Why don't you, finish? Once you secure a job, then you can pay me whenever you are ready. She said, oh, she doesn't want to owe me and blah, blah, blah. But I said, no, you're a good student. You have to stay the course.
Right.
And fortunately, she listened. She finished, she got the first job, and they were paying her $60 an hour. So imagine moving from $8 to $60 an hour. Then she secured another job, a second job. She was making 65 an hour.
It's amazing.
To my biggest surprise, she sent me, I think she sent over like $1,000. I was there and my cash app just, she called, the cash app thing,
Yeah.
So she called and she said, bro, you don't even know the impact you have on people's life.
Right.
That you have not just touched my life, you've actually changed the life of my family.
Correct.
Because I didn't know she had three daughters back in Cameroon.
Wow.
She was responsible for paying the fees. Imagine if you have to pay fees for three daughters, you're making $8 an hour. You have to pay rent. You have to also clothe yourself.
Right.
And all these things that you have to do as a woman for yourself. How was she getting by? I could barely even understand. But she told me I put her in a situation where her life has completely changed. So those are some of just some of the stories which I remember that really lights up my heart and it encourages me to keep doing more for the community.
That's excellent, man. It's so excellent because just listening to all the stories. These are stories that we don't listen, we don't hear about them all the time. We don't hear them every day, but these are things that people actually go through. And these are things that people go through, and it ties down to the reason why I'm doing this show, because it's just about expand it, let people be listening to these stories and see the possibility of things that can actually happen in their lives, you know,
Absolutely.
not just being stuck in wherever they are, but see the possibility of things that how people's life has been transformed and how they can also leverage those resources in order to become better.
Absolutely.
What another question that I have for you today is, what's one thing that you were surprised about when you first traveled to America?
I think the biggest thing that shocked me was homeless people. Because when I came in to the US, my first stop was at JFK. So I had about 12 hours layover, because before I got here, my flight was canceled. So I had just, I think, $350 in my pocket. I needed to buy another flight. So I bought another flight going to Colorado. I think it was about 200 and something dollars, or maybe $200 or 100 and something. So I was left with $150.
Right.
And I had to go and pay rent for $100 once I get to Colorado. So literally it was $50 that I needed to deal with. Right? So when I took the opportunity to go out from the airport, and the amount of homeless people and beggars I saw in New York, it freaked me out. You know, after listening to Alicia Keys' song, New York,
right.
So I felt like New York was like heaven.
The city of dreams.
City of dreams and all that. And my dreams, it almost shut down my dreams, because I was thinking, like, if this is how New York is, the famous New York, what would Colorado look like? You know? And coming from Europe then, I thought America was like the heaven, you know?
Right.
So it really, I was baffled, to say the least. I was shocked. But it just gave me a different perspective, because I saw people with huge cars, you know, I saw luxury buildings, and then I saw people living on the street.
Right.
So it was that, you know, different perspective that it actually made me to understand that, hey, people are making it and some people are not making it.
Absolutely.
You get to choose which path you follow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. You know, one of the things that I thought about as soon as I came here was I was, you know, landed at JFK Airport here in New York City. I was so surprised people actually walk on the ground like we do in Cameroon. You know, I was surprised and, you know, seeing people on the streets. I'm like, oh, you know, it's kind of the same thing we have in Cameroon. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah,
right?
what's the difference?
Oh, man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Okay, well, another question that I have for you is, what advice will you give to someone who just immigrated to America or wanting to immigrate overseas?
I think first thing is, ensure you start working on your papers the moment you get here. Right? Don't let it sit to the back burner. And also, if you have the opportunity to go to school, whether it's getting a certification or taking any professional courses, do so early on, right? Even if you start from a warehouse job or a CNA, whichever job you do, ensure that you find yourself in some kind of professional training. Because it's very easy to become complacent. It's very easy to, you know, just stay where you are. And also find a mentor. That is something which a lot of people take for granted. But once you find a good mentor, your life will be so different. You can actually achieve so much in a short period of time, because you have someone that has gone through it. And I'm not talking about a mentor for someone that has stayed here for 10, 20 years. That's not the point. A mentor is someone that has achieved something, who understand the route to success, the route that you want to follow. So you find that person, whether it's on LinkedIn, whichever resource you want to leverage to find a good mentor. It's so, so important. A mentor will direct you. A mentor will teach you from your failures and your experiences to tell you, don't do this, and this is the reason why. But if you go and find someone that is a pessimist who hasn't achieved anything, that has just been here for a long time, they will shatter almost all your dreams.
Absolutely.
So get your papers right, get an education, get the mentor. Those are three things. The rest will fall in place.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know,
and be prayerful too. Prayer works.
Prayer works, absolutely. You know, you just hit on something very, very important, which is very, very unusual and uncommon in our community. You just mentioned something about mentoring and coaching. It's something that we always think about mentoring and coaching to be a business aspect.
Mm.
And we think about it to be a business component, but most of us are missing the fact that mentorship is, because I look at it from a coach perspective, right? Think about a soccer player, think about a soccer game. A coach is somebody that stands on the outside, you know, and watch everything that's happening out there, yes. Right? And he has it's like an eagle eye, standing out there and just watching whatever is happening. He can see where you go wrong and where the ball is going and the possibility of you failing or making a good goal, a good play, you know. And I so love the aspect of coaching and mentoring because, you know, me, especially yourself, being in business and all these business opportunities and that we involve ourselves into, it gives us an opportunity to experience coaching and mentoring from different angles and different people. And we can bring those skills and knowledges back into our community to help people focus and see the need to actually have somebody in your life that can actually be like somebody who is guiding you. And one thing that I also noticed is that we find complacency. We find somebody who is friendly, you know, we find someone who is friendly, who will not judge you. You know, if you want to do something wrong, the person will be like, you know, it's okay, you know, just forget about it, right? Somebody who is not going to hold us accountable. What can you say about that aspect of accountability and mentoring?
Yeah, I think when it comes to mentorship, right? A lot of people, they feel like the mentor is trying to show off sometimes.
Right.
And that is a misleading aspect because when you're finding a mentor, you have to be sure that you source the right mentor. You have to be able to listen. You have to be coachable, right? Those are things which are very important. If you're not coachable, if you're not able to listen, there's no point in having that person as a mentor because sometimes a mentor may tell you something that is so outrageous, but they know why they're telling you. You have to have some degree of trust in that person. You say, okay, this person has been successful, proven, right? That is why they're telling me to go through this path. Then when it comes to accountability, you have to also know that this person has to challenge you. If a mentor is not challenging you to do more for yourself, then that's not the right mentor that you need to. A mentor is supposed to challenge you to be accountable because you are responsible to, you know, follow the path to your success. A mentor may just be there to guide you. They will just serve as a guide rail, but you have to formulate that path. They'll tell you, okay, this is the right path. This is what you have to do. And you need to make sure that you do it. Because if you keep making excuses, that person also wouldn't want to keep wasting your time in mentoring you. I can't mentor you to failure. Right. You have to also be responsible. There's that shared ownership, me mentoring you and you doing what you're supposed to do, being accountable every single day, right? And then mentoring also involves coaching. Right. If I'm coaching you, I know that, hey, you have to, certain times you have to challenge me as a mentor, and the times I have to challenge you, the times I'll provide you ideas, the times I'll listen to what you're proposing, the times I'll expect you to come up with ideas. Right. So it's a two-way street. Don't just sit and say, oh, I have a mentor, and then you're calling them and asking them for what is the hottest bar. Right? You never call them and say, hey, which book can I read? Right. How do I grow in this career path that I'm choosing? What are the challenges? Because that's very important, right? Rather than just looking at the person's success, you should also be questioning them. What kind of challenges did you deal with? How did you overcome this ones, right? What is the path? Because like you said, from the coaching perspective, today we had one of our Lean Six Sigma sessions, office hour. A lady brought up a concern about, you know, they are looking for root cause, right? They notice that the problem is not within the team, it's from another team. Right. How can they fix that? So I was telling them that there is something called local optimization and global optimization. There's the same thing when it comes to coaching. You being the player, you have a local perspective, just what you're seeing, but the coach has a global perspective. Correct. Like a mentor, you're seeing it from a big picture because you understand the whole map.
Right.
But you, the player, you're seeing just where you are. So a mentor will guide you, help enlarge your vision, but you have to be ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you just hit on those topics about books, about reading books, and not just any kind of book, or motivational books, business books, those books, that would drive you. You know, I think about the fact that there are books, when you look at successful people are readers. You know, they
Yes.
have a lot of books, they've read a lot of books, and it's a habit and culture which is being which is being translated to the business community, right? But so many of us in our African community, we are not. We think about books to be something that you have to use to prepare for exams.
Yes.
And 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 as soon as the examination is over, you pack all the books and dump them at the dumpster.
Yeah.
You know, right now my life is just work, work, work. But I think about books because I have read multiple books, multiple business books, and I'm sure you have read as well. You know, and these books have actually broadened our perspective of life and in different things. Think about marriage, think about relationship, think about love, think about business, think about mindset, think about motivation, think about even workout and exercise, think about even dieting and self-help. These are all areas that are very these are areas that are very, very influential in our day-to-day life and personal development.
Absolutely.
Another question that I have for you is who are the three people who have been the most influential in your life in America and why?
That's a very good question. I think the first person, I'll say the first person has been my wife.
Excellent.
I don't get to tell her this because
I'm sure she's going to listen to this show.
Yeah, hopefully. I think my wife she has been very influential in who I've become. I think my level of maturity today has been grossly due to her being the woman she is, standing firm behind me, making sure that I see the big picture every time. You know, I think she's been one of the most influential people in my life, in my adult life, I would say. Then also, I have a friend, Gustav Mkete. He has been very influential in the perspective, how I see things, which I really appreciate. He has been a great friend. He has been a brother. He has been a business partner. And he has just, he was the first one to get into the corporate world. He was the first person to come to America. You know how you see your friend that and I saw him in America. I was like, Jesus Christ, I must come to this America, right? And then he was the first to get into the corporate world. And I was like, if he can get into this corporate world, I also can do this.
Absolutely.
With that healthy, competition,
right?
Which a lot of times friends misunderstand this, right?
Right.
If you are friends with someone, you have to be able to compete with them in something positively, right? You're challenging yourself that, hey, my friend has elevated himself. I also need to elevate myself.
Right.
Not that you're jealous of them achieving anything, but you're using that as a motivating factor to elevate yourself.
Right.
And then I think I'll say another person is Cliff Ockett. He's a Kenyan friend. He introduced me to WFG. Okay. I think that has been very instrumental in my understanding of the whole financial sphere in the US.
Correct.
Understanding how the US market is, how money works, and understanding the whole finance aspect, personal finance. I think he's been very influential. I get to tell him this often, but I don't think he really understands how much I appreciate him, being able to say, okay, if I go out, I don't come back in. Right. My wife will be taken care of. My brothers, my sisters, my son will be taken care of. He will still go to the school he wanted to go to. My wife will still live the luxurious life that she wants and all that. So he made that possible. He gave me a peace of mind, which I cannot trade that for anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are three people. Yeah.
It's amazing. You mentioned something about the person you have become, right? Yeah, and I think about the person that you have become as something that you have, like your wife being the first and number one influential person in your life. being that person that she has been, influencing you and pushing you to your extremes and making you becoming better, right? And think about the fact, like I'm thinking about the fact that now she has made you the person that you have become, right? It means you have actually arrived at some point. What are some of the things that you experienced that made you become a better person? Because obviously you are better today than you were 8 years ago.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think number one is the challenge. You know, our African women, they will tell you things that it will get you fired up, right? Although some men, they don't like being challenged by a woman, but I think for me, I leverage that as a catalyst to push myself to be somebody, right?
Right.
Because coming in and then after my work and travel visa had expired, I was waiting for my asylum case to go through. So I couldn't work. I had no work permit. So my wife was the one working then, and she was taking care of the house. So you know how when African woman is taking care of the house, you become the house band, right? So she would challenge me, like the times she really challenged me, not in a degrading way, but she would say things which, as a man, when you sit back and rerun those things in your head, you know that, man, I have to do something, right?
Right.
I have to get something going for myself. I need to elevate myself so I can help this woman,
right.
To at least get some rest.
And the whole family that you want
right.
to develop.
At the head of as a head of the household is very instrumental. I'm not saying you must earn more than your wife or you must kill yourself. No, I'm saying you have to do something.
Right.
Right. So just the small challenges that she used to just throw words, it got me to really get up and say, hey, what can I do? How can I help? Right? How can I be a better person? Because, man, a lot of men make mistakes. They'll usually send your wife or your girlfriend to school and they're not going to school. They usually let the woman pay all the bills and take care of the house, and they just sit there and do nothing. In the short run, it may be okay, but in the long run, trust me, they'll kick you out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for your time, my brother. And one question I just want to ask you, where can our listeners connect with you? If they've learned all these things about you, you've been able to come on the show, you tell us all these great things that you're doing out there. All these great things that you're doing out there in Maryland, and how can they reach out to you? How can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm not a big social media person per se, but I'm on Facebook, Philip Peters. Then my professional email, philip@betaconsultingservice.com. That's BETACONSULTINGSERVICE.com. And what else? I think I have an Instagram page, but I've forgotten what it is. Yeah, I'm not a big social media person per se, but I think recently I've started to really understand the impact of social media, how it can be leveraged to, reach more people positively, because it can be used in all kinds of crazy ways. But I think I'll really start to embrace that.
Absolutely. I'm definitely going to put your contact on the description of the show, and be ready to welcome emails from people who are interested in the content that you develop. And if you have a website, you send that to me. I'm going to put that on there so people can actually get more information from you and learn about what you do. And I can't wait. I know you've mentioned something about the financial aspect and financial education. I can't wait to have you back on the show so you can definitely tell us about how people can prepare themselves financially being in America, because the one thing that we always think about is just work, send money in Cameroon, work and send money back home, work and send money back home. And I can't wait for us to really open that kind of war, that kind of war when it comes to financial education.
Yeah, I'll be very happy to discuss on that topic, because I think we don't talk about it a lot, especially in our community. Growing up, we don't talk about money with our parents. Right. And with friends, we don't get to talk about money. All we want to do is, this friend has money, we want to follow them to program and drink.
Right.
We never really ask about, hey, what kind of investment vehicles, or what is in your portfolio? What opportunities can I leverage? How can I properly save money? Right? How can I invest this money? So I think that's a topic which we don't get to discuss too often. And even being a financial professional myself, sometimes when I'm with friends, I want to talk about maybe retirement or maybe proper preparation for the eventuality. Right? We
Right.
all would go someday.
Right.
They just look at me like, bro, why? Like,
people
then I tell them
people
I'm
think
tired.
people think
Yeah,
it's far fetched.
yeah. I tell them I'm tired of GoFundMe and people retiring and then they have to go back to the village because they didn't properly prepare, or being homeless and so many things, or being sick and then usurping all the savings. So those are some of the things which I really like us to hit on. Maybe the next time you get to invite me on the show.
Absolutely, my brother. Well, thank you very much for your time, man. And I know you are a new dad. I cannot imagine how much sleep you get every night.
Oh man, it's exciting. uh,
Extend my regards to your amazing wife, man. And I can't wait. What next time I'm in Maryland, I'm definitely gonna give you guys. We're just gonna show up at your door.
Absolutely, my wife is a great cook, man. I think you enjoy,
I
whether
can't
it's
wait.
fish, arrow, whatever. Just let me know.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, man. Thanks so much for your time, bro. I'm gonna talk to you later.
All right, man. Appreciate the opportunity. You
All
take care of
right.
yourself and let's get this to number one.
Yes, absolutely. Right.
All right. Have a good one.
You
Good
too,
night.
bro. You too. Good night.